Now
Okay,
recording. Yeah.
now it's going. Okay, so today we're talking about cheating and jealousy. Yesterday, well, last week, or whenever it was, we posted the thing.
Whenever we
And
were
then
last gathered together.
whenever we were last gathered together, we talked about celebrities and we talked about hoes in different area codes. I got hoes.
So many
Yeah,
hoes. I
so
believe.
many hoes. I know, but I gave up all of my hoes. Was it like last year, I think? I gave up all of my hoes last year just
Did you?
because, yeah, I did. I gave up all of the hoes. I've pretty much been sticking to people that I have better friendships with in this sphere, um, because I wasn't being fulfilled by my hoes in all the ways I wanted to be.
I mean, yeah, those aren't
Um,
really meant for fulfilling anybody.
well, that's my personal problem, right? I build relationships with people and I want to sleep with the same people for a really long period of time. So even though you're my hoe, you're still kind of like a friend of mine. We're still supposed to like be having these conversations, whatever. You know what I mean? And so I mean, obviously I don't feel jealousy or anything around them, but I just kind of was just done with the shits. So now I just feel jealousy about my friends and my more intimate partners as I should.
Mm.
And I know what you're thinking. Jealousy's bad. Is it though? I mean, it can be, but like I'm gonna sit here and I'm gonna freely admit that when my friends spend time with other friends that are not me, I feel some type of way about that shit.
I
I feel some type of way about
mean,
that shit.
it can happen. I mean, you can't blame you for feeling the way you're feeling. I mean, sometimes you're just like, hey, no, hang with me. I'm the one.
Yeah, exactly. I am the one. So like today, a mutual friend of ours was talking about getting sushi on Friday. And I was like, "Oh, I wish I could be there to do that. I should get sushi in my own country." And they were posting about it on Twitter, and then some chick pops up like, "Oh, yeah, let's do that." And I had to push her one away and be like, who is this bee trying to make plans with you that's not me?
Imagine you're just out there trying to live your life,
Trying to
and a
live my
friend
life.
messages you, and then all of a sudden you get in page another conversation like, say, you get them bun,
No, but
friend
Shaggy me
bun.
Bun because it is friend Bun. It is
Oh, yeah.
friend Bun because I mean I guess technically she's allowed to have other friends. Whatever.
I love
Dawn.
how, in the realm of this podcast, you're more restricted with your friends than you are with your romantic relationships. Like,
Yeah, yeah, I am because I just fuck it. I just am. Okay.
all right.
Anyway, welcome to Monogamish. I'm Jen,
Oh, I'm Sham, and
and
we're
we're
monogamish. So
monogamish.
close.
Close, so close, hit so far. It's okay. It's gonna be great. Like I said, today we're talking about cheating and jealousy. And as I just gave you that very, very long spiel about, jealousy does not only apply to romantic relationships, and you can still give somebody a bun even if you're friends. That's all I'm going to say about that.
No comment.
That's right. You better have a no comment because
Let's
you're
stay
next
on
on my
topic.
list. You went out
Okay.
with the wife on the
That I would.
weekend.
I can't.
After
She's my
you promised
wife.
time to me, after you promised the time to me, I'm just
Oh.
saying.
Okay. See, what had happened was, oh look, opening points. What is jealousy, or
Huh.
what is cheating?
Yeah, let's dive into the cheating, huh? See, this is very relevant to our
Mm,
conversation, isn't it?
I don't think it is at all.
So when they talk about cheating and infidelity, they kind of tend to go together in a lot of ways. I mean, the definitions are very similar. I mean, the broad definition of cheating that most people know from the Oxford Dictionary is to be sexually unfaithful. But of course, relationship experts, they have their ideas on that. They dive into what that means, and we can break cheating down to, emotional, to
Yeah.
sexual, to romantic overall. Like they're just I don't know. I mean, like
Like,
what
yeah, being sexually unfaithful is very basic, and it's weird. It's so general, but not specific but so specific at the same time because it's specific to sexual relationships. But then there's so many other ways you can cheat. So it's like it's weird. It's like it's broad and narrow at
yeah,
the same
like I
time.
mean, so when you dive into infidelity from, the Oxford Dictionary also, it's the action or state of being unfaithful to a spouse or other sexual partner. And it's derived from the Latin infidelis, which means not faithful, which seemed to be a big reference to religion. And of course, there would dive into more definitions from Merriam-Webster, the act or fact of having a romantic or sexual relationship with someone other than one's husband, wife, or partner, which definitely does not really apply to us.
Yeah, no. A lot of these are going to end up being, basically monogamous biased. Is there a word like
monogamist? I don't know. That's
I don't know. Like, you have like heteronormative. Is there like monogamo? I can't even say that word I just made up.
Monogonormative? I don't know. I just made up a word too.
Your mouth is just so good at that.
What did I say? I have a magic tongue.
There we go. Further less comments. I mean, but that's what we're talking about. It's not too distracted this time.
Okay, but my favorite definition of infidelity comes from Urban Dictionary because I think this one makes the most sense to monogamous and non-monogamous relationship. It's a violation of a couple's assumed or stated contract regarding emotional and or sexual exclusivity. In this sphere, it doesn't mean that you're not allowed to fuck somebody else. It just means that we have a contract or, of what's allowed and what's not allowed in things. So it could be something as simple as, hey, you're allowed to fuck other people, but I'd rather you not kiss them on the mouth.
Yeah, I mean, and, it says contract, but obviously we're not saying you need to sit down and have everything written out or discussed openly. But, like I said, it could be assumed contract also. So it's like, what do you think your partner would like or not like, or what have you talked about and stuff like that. So
yeah,
and so that's why I like that it fits the many different kind of relationships.
I like that one. Like I said, it fits, but also I do believe that if you are entering into a non-monogamous partnership, that this is definitely something you should talk about.
Oh, definitely.
A lot. Because rules can be changed and redefined over time. Like right now, I could be totally okay with you, not having sex with someone without a condom. And then 2 years down the line, I'm kind of thinking, well, this is a partner that you've been with for a while. Maybe I'm okay with you, have sex with them. Or they call it fluid bonding, where, yeah.
Oh, yes, more terms.
More terms.
You even have to put it in the document now. See?
Yeah, it's going to be in the show notes. Fluid bonding.
Stop saying new things. That's more work for us later. Well, more for you later, but hey.
Oh, yeah, I'm glad you acknowledge that I'm the one writing all the show notes. So, guys, when all the jokes hit in there, when the jokes all hit in there, it's all me. I'm funny.
I mean, okay. I do other things too.
You do. But yeah, so that's pretty much what we're talking about. And again, just so we're all on the same page here, you can cheat or be unfaithful in a non-monogamous relationship. I know I was going to say unfaithful, and I was like, that's not the word.
Nope, not even close.
Yeah,
we know where you were going with it, yeah.
Yeah, you can cheat on someone even if you're non-monogamous. Once you violate the rules of the relationship, that's cheating. That's just it.
Which is important to say, because I know a lot of people, you'll see online and you see people say like, oh, he's a cheater, he might as well just be non-monogamous and done. Whereas like, no, that's not the same thing. Just because someone is in a non-monogamous relationship doesn't mean they can't cheat. Cheating is still possible. So if someone is a cheater, it does not necessarily mean they should go and try and be poly or non-monogamous, because
never get into non-monogamous relationship with cheaters because you think you can control it, and you can't. It's just not that. It's not that. I mean, and we talk about the cheating lifestyle that exists. Of course, in monogamy, there's a very strict contract of what is and isn't allowed. So it's like no fucking anybody else, no kissing anybody else. No, there's a lot of things that you can't do with anyone else that's
even spouse. That's the thing. Even in a monogamous relationship, there are different versions of what people can and can't do. Like people, like everyone assumes like everyone has the same rules because we're all grown up with the same, bullshit idea of what a relationship should be. But, some people are like, they'll get more mad at you kissing someone else, and some people get more mad at you just even talking to someone else in a romantic way secretly or something like that.
Absolutely. And I mean, of course, there are tons of websites and stuff that are geared towards affairs. There's heatedaffairs.com. There's ashleymadison.com. There was a hack of Ashley Madison some time ago, apparently. That's crazy.
Just imagine all these people out there giving one and then bam.
All out there, but I saw a story on Twitter about a girl. There's that topic, how did you find out you were being cheated on?
Oh, wow.
And one of the girls was like, oh, he found his profile in a Match.com advertisement that popped up on her screen, and it said he was online right now.
Wow.
I was like, that's intense. I mean, I've been cheated on before.
Snitching.
Ads out here snitching.
Not that you should be doing anything, but
no, you should not. You should not be. But I've been cheated on before, And it was a really shitty feeling. A really shitty feeling, not because I really loved the person, but it was just a betrayal of my understanding of our relationship. And at
Yeah.
the time, I was being monogamous, more or less, and they were not. And so we were on
Yeah.
two separate pages. And there's nothing I think that hurts worse than that kind of unfaithfulness where you're questioning yourself and you're wondering, oh, like what's going on? What did I do? What did I not do? Did I make this happen? Even though obviously I know it wasn't my fault.
Yeah.
It's still just a lot of feelings that goes along with it. So I'm not a fan of cheating. I don't believe in cheating. I know that I have friends who've cheated, and I personally have never cheated on anyone because I remember how it feels and I hated that. So
Yeah.
I'm more likely the person to tell you, you know what? I really don't want to just fuck only you anymore. I'd rather fuck other people. Like I tend not to get myself in those situations. And I've heard, oh, it just happens. Like you can just trip and fall into someone else.
Land in some pussy.
Because
Yes.
it's just like there's small steps that you take every time that you are unfaithful to someone. So if it's just like an emotional unfaithful where it's like, oh, it's, sharing something with them that you never shared with your partner. It's if it's someone that you work with, it's like, oh, taking them to lunch a couple times and not telling your partner about it. Just like little steps that people take that they don't see as a big deal right away until you're smack dab in the middle of it and you're like, what the fuck? How did I get here?
I mean, an easy rule of thumb is just like, would your partner be okay with this? Would they be happy to hear you were doing this? Would they be upset? Is it something that you have to hide, that you're choosing to hide because you know it's going to upset them or, for whatever reason? Like, you probably shouldn't be doing it. Or is
Yeah.
this something you should talk about?
Don't do it. If you
Yeah,
if you think
but
if you're doing something that you know you definitely would not want your partner to do, rule of thumb, don't do it
also that,
and
yes.
talk about it.
Hmm.
And so we're
Yeah,
gonna dive in, of course. So there's a lot of jealousy that pops up around conversations with non-monogamy, as long as cheating and infidelity. There's all sorts of conversations that pop up, but jealousy is a big one that people get asked
yeah.
about.
And that's
Oh,
another thing that people would think if you're non-monogamous, like, you can't get jealous.
you
How are you
definitely
going
get
to be jealous?
jealous.
You signed up for this. Are you going to be jealous of them
Mm.
doing anything with anyone else? You've clearly just given away all right to be jealous now. You
Nope,
signed the
that's not how
contract and
that
it's gone.
works. I'm still a
Not
human.
at all.
We're allowed to feel our feelings. There's so many definitions of jealousy. So many definitions of jealousy. And we're saying that jealousy generally refers to thoughts or feelings of insecurity, fear, and concern over relative lack of possessions, which, that's more geared towards stuff. It's
Yeah,
like
I
you're
don't think
jealous.
that
But
one
I think that's more
applies
envious to
here.
me. I don't think envious is really jealousy. I think it's like envious.
It sounds
Uh,
like I'm not a big churchgoer, but
yeah.
I remember some stuff, and it sounds more like when they say covet your neighbor's wife or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah,
It sounds
coveting
like
your neighbor's
that kind
things.
of. Yeah,
And also, you don't own people, so I definitely don't like being referred to as a possession.
of course not.
Um, Urban Dictionary has one that's interesting. I love using Urban Dictionary for stuff because it's like crowdsourcing people's definitions and their personal stuff, which
I,
I
for
think
one,
is,
am just surprised that Urban Dictionary is sometimes better than the actual, Merriam-Webster and Oxford that we've
oh
come to
yeah,
grow and know. And like,
oh
wow,
yeah.
are
So the
y'all losing out to the new kid? Come on, guys,
Urban, the
upgrade.
most Urban Dictionary says the most correct definition would be the feeling of being threatened by a rival in a romantic relationship or of losing something of value to another person which happens to be yours already. So if we're looking at this from the construct where, people own their spouses, which I disagree with, but whatever, you can understand why someone flirting with your spouse or, your spouse seeming to enjoy spending time with someone else could be considered, threatening to you. And it's an imaginary rivalry that exists for sure because you're
Oh
having a
yes,
rival in your mind with this person. I mean, I don't really like the word rival, but you kind of get
this
the gist
yeah
of what they're talking about.
yeah it gives a weird vibe when you say like was it
A
a
rival.
rival in a romantic relationship. I'm like thinking like,
Yeah.
oh, you're gonna see a man out there and you have to walk up to him with a glove and like slap him in the face or something like, you are now my rival. We must duel at dawn for my wife's love or
Oh,
something.
it's like what's that call it? That movie with the kid. It was a comic book and the girlfriends with the evil ex-boyfriend, whatever. What is
Oh,
it?
Scott Pilgrim versus the World.
Yeah,
Yes,
so
my
it's like
favorite movie
that.
of all time. Not exactly a look into non-monogamy. It's
No, no, that's more. I'm talking about the rivalry bit, the
but
fighting.
yeah,
But
yeah,
yes,
yeah,
the
yeah.
duel.
I guess you have to fight for it. Yes.
Yeah, and so they say jealousy can consist of one or more emotions such as anger, resentment, inadequacy, helplessness, or disgust. And its original meaning, jealousy is distinct from envy, though the two terms have popularly become synonymous in the English language now with jealousy. Now also taking on the definition originally used for envy alone, which makes sense based on the first one that I popped out at, right? And I think the most important part of here is that jealousy is about you as a person. It is your individual feelings about a situation. It doesn't mean that things are necessarily being presented that way. Like I said, it just appears that your partner enjoys spending more time with someone else. It doesn't necessarily mean that's true. It's an inadequacy on your part. It could be because you feel as if you're not spending enough time with them, doing things that you both enjoy. There are just so many different reasons to be jealous. Like, for example, in my friendships, I do not live near most of my close friends. And so that is a feeling of, it's helplessness in a way that I can't spend as much time with them as I want to. And, I resent myself in a way. I feel like I'm not doing enough for the friendship because I can't physically be with them at times that they need. There's no disgust, though. I don't disgust myself. I'm too beautiful for that. But yeah. Like I said, there's those kinds of feelings, and like I said, these are not only tied to romantic relationships. There's romantic jealousy, where you're like threats to self-esteem or the existence of quality of a relationship based on the perception of a real or potential romantic attraction. So, like I said, that's a very clear thing. And there's sexual jealousy is a person displays sexual interest in someone else. So you're just kind of like, whoa, why are they flirting with that dude? Why don't they find them hot? What's up with me? Why don't they find me as hot?
And now, a lot of these. So one thing I realized with these, there are a lot of these are more based in the possibility of being with someone else, or the perceived notion that something is happening.
Yeah.
Whereas I feel for our context, non-monogamy, it wouldn't be perceived. There can be romantic jealousy where that your partner is romantically interested in someone else or is romantically involved with someone else, and that's just how it is. You're non-monogamous. You're allowing this. You're fine with them dating other persons, but you still sometimes end up feeling jealousy that they're with someone else, they're romantic with someone else, they're lovey-dovey, or just straight up that you're just mad they're boning someone else. It happens.
I think it also
there's nothing
requires.
wrong with that.
Yeah, it's okay. It just requires conversation. You just have to talk about it. I think once you're in a relationship with someone and you're feeling something that, you need to talk through with them or you can't work through on your own, just talk about it. You just have to come at it from a very confident, not very attacking standpoint, and it's super important. And then I think, and this is considered the flip side to jealousy, would be compersion, right? Would you consider that to be the exact opposite?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, it's basically people are into the idea of their partners with someone else. It's not a real word.
Yeah, compersion is not a real word. It's a made up word.
In the Oxford Dictionary.
No, polyam people totally made this up. The feeling of joy associated with seeing a loved one love another. Or, you enjoy your partner, you get pleasure from your partner getting pleasure. And it's with someone else. You usually use compersion as it relates to with someone else, right?
Yes.
So, and there are other words, that you can kind of use in that same thing. There's mudita. I think I kind of butchered that, but whatever. It's a Sanskrit word. It means the pleasure that comes from delighting in others' well-being. And une in Norwegian means to be happy on someone else's behalf. So it's very similar to that. The idea of compersion is very closely linked to that, I believe.
That feeling is just that it's generally connected to your partner being with someone else.
Yeah, of course. And of course,
is a whole other conversation, because that can be, there's obviously some kinks. We all know that section of porn that some people like. No judgment here.
What section of porn are you referring to? Tell me. Talk to me about it.
I mean, I'm not sure. I don't really know about the pornography. But I think it's
really?
Called a cuckold. Is that the word?
Oh, a cuckold. That's an interesting thing. I've seen an interesting other one that talks about dogging, where, husbands take their wives dogging, which I thought was a very weird term, but apparently it's where they take their wives off into the woods to get fucked by a whole bunch of strangers, and they just watch, record. So that's extreme cuckolding, I guess. I don't know.
I mean, wow, that's hey.
Yeah.
Power to you.
I mean, I've seen some weird shit on the internet. I'm just gonna be honest with y'all.
But
yeah.
Oh no, because I'm saying another one is, I don't know if this is
yeah, tell me.
similar, hot wifing.
Hot wifing, maybe. Yeah, probably.
That's a thing. I mean, that thing that was more basic. It's like, oh, when you take your wife and want her to have sex with someone else. So it's basically,
Yeah.
but it's all falls under compersion. And
Yeah, of
I don't
course.
know. Have
Because
you
you
ever?
feel,
Wait,
have I ever
say,
hot wifed? No, I'm not a
no, no,
wife.
not that. No, I was saying, have you ever felt compersion or think you could ever be into that?
Oh yeah, I definitely been into it in certain situations. It's not a isolated thing. I think it depends on the relationship I have with the person.
Hmm.
Like I just ultimately feel happy every time they're happy.
Okay.
And yeah, so I've had compersion, I've had jealousy for sure.
Oh, definitely. Let me get to that.
Oh shizzle.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, I mean, let's talk about that. Let's just go into any experience of jealousy or compersion that we've had. I mean, for me, I cannot probably share my compersion stories. It's probably,
Hey,
I mean,
that's a
I could,
fair
I could,
play.
I could like vaguely reference them in
Uh,
terms of the
hey,
partners that I was with.
let's not, we don't gotta blow up
Not,
anybody's
no,
spot.
no, no,
Nobody's.
no, no. It's not gonna blow up anyone's spot. It was just like, it was a long time ago, and there was a woman that I was interested in, and we met and we had a really intense connection, and I was like all about it. And later on, she was kind of like, okay, well, I'm also kind of talking to this dude. He's kind of my boyfriend. I was like, cool. What does it have to do with us? Like, I don't get it. You're mentioning this guy, which is so weird, but
She
okay.
sounds fun.
She was fun. She was fun. And it was just kind of like their relationship happiness also kind of made me happy because I was like, I didn't have to worry about any of the extra drama, quote unquote. I mean, he was pretty insecure in the relationship because, I'm amazing. Have you met me?
Yeah.
So in his
I
mind, it
have,
was
and she
there.
is.
Yeah, in his mind, there's a lot more going on. That was a threat. So I guess he was a jealous one. So he was acting on jealousy, and I was acting on compersion. It's
Mm,
funny how two people on up in the same,
relationship. Yeah.
situationship can kind of be on these opposite sides of the spectrum. Um, but yeah, that's my compersion story. Do you have a compersion story that you can share?
Compersion. I don't really think I feel compersion as far as like I would want to see the wife with someone else just and that gives me pleasure. I mean, the closest thing I guess I would have is back in the day, as I said in my origin story. We would, you know, cruising for girls, and we used to first it started out as threesomes, but then it just became, some girls weren't really interested in me, but they were fine with me watching. So there is just that very base,
Hmm.
raw, watching two women have sex thing, and of course watching my wife, girlfriend at the time, have sex with another woman was very, interesting. So
Yeah.
in that sense, I guess that's a form of comparison. I don't
Yeah.
know.
That could be considered a kind of compersion. I mean, it's
Yeah,
not technical, but it's mean based on the situation and what you were working with at the time. It's probably the best that
yeah.
we could go with. And
Hmm.
so jealousy,
Ah,
jealousy.
yes.
I mean, like I said, my jealousy mostly comes from friendships as opposed to romantic relationships. But that's because I crave my people around me to be close to me at all times, and distance makes it harder. I can't really say I experience much jealousy. I mean, there's one person who's made me crazy. And I say crazy because I felt like a literal psychopath um, loving this person.
Yeah, love can't do that to you.
Apparently it can, but I don't think it should do it to the extent that
It
it
really
does. I
shouldn't.
think I think it's part. I think part of it is like obsession and desperation in a way, and not not to mean in a bad way, but just in a sense where you so want everything to be perfect, and you
Yeah.
so want everything to be right, especially when you've gone through a lot with the person, and
Hmm.
it's kind of like forcing something to work that isn't working.
Oh yeah, definitely. That's
Been there,
that would
right?
definitely drive you crazy. Yeah.
Exactly. So I
Uh,
felt like I was just being driven crazy, and there's like so many outside influences. And so there was like a lot of negative emotions coming up. And for me in this situation, jealousy was very, very negative. And yeah, this person who I no longer speak to because, of course, you have to cut the crazy out of your life, right?
of
Um,
course.
they have a story that they tell about me. Well, at the time when we were still friends or whatever, they're like, I remember that time that we were at this party and we were not on a break, but we were like having a fight. And there was this girl who was sitting on his lap, and he was like, I felt that you wanted me to die. I said, absolutely. I sure did.
Oh boy, this sounds like a whole lot of trouble.
It was a lot of trouble, and I mean, I'm happy to be out of that space now and in a much
I'm
healthier
happy for you.
situation. But I mean, like, I just remember feeling like these very intense feelings of like anger and just like, the anger they talk about in the jealousy part. Yeah, and like I was
Yeah.
viewing this person as a rival, even the girl, obviously the other girl,
Yes. No.
even though it had nothing to do with her. It's not her fault because he's the person that put her in that situation. You know what I mean? And I think a lot of stuff that we have to kind of decide in relationships is to put the blame where it falls. So should I blame the stranger who slept with my husband behind my
Yeah,
back?
that's an
Or
interesting thing that
or
happens a lot, where people would end up blaming the person who is not,
yeah,
like
you're not in
this
the
person doesn't owe you
relationship.
anything. There's nothing
They owe me
between the two
nothing.
of you. There's no trust between the two of you that was
Exactly.
broken.
So
So
that's
yeah,
one thing that I really
even
had to
though, yeah. Oh,
work
sorry.
on. Yeah, no,
Yeah.
no, it's okay. I said it's one thing I really had to work on. It's kind of like I think we all kind of evolve in that way over time. Like there's a point in time where you're blaming the other person when it has nothing to do with them. It's your relationship. The people in the relationship are the ones who are supposed to hold the rules up. The only time you should ever blame the other person is if they're like your best friend or like your relative or something and they know everything. In
Yeah.
which case, then you have full permission to fight a bitch, and you should knock that motherfucker out.
The Marlamish podcast does not endorse the knocking a bitch out.
Oh, we definitely endorse the violence on this
What?
side of it.
Wait, no, what?
Jen endorses the violence. If
No,
a bitch
Sham
does
would
not
like to
come
not.
correct, knock her fucking teeth out or
Sham would
his
like to
teeth
be
out.
excused from this narrative. Thank you very much.
Jen says, fight somebody if they deserve to be fought.
Okay, so how about we get to my, if I have any jealousy stories.
Yeah,
And
no.
let's see, funny enough, I don't feel a lot of jealousy in regards to my primary partner being with other people that much. I mean, in the moment, there's like a knee-jerk reaction of like, oh, she's with someone and not me, and it kind of just like, just a base jealousy anyone, like someone can just feel of just like, oh, she's not with me, but that's not very long lasting and not very down to my core.
Mm-hmm.
Like it would just pass in the moment. But the only real jealousy I've ever felt strongly would be, it's weird. It's not that it's jealousy that she has something that I'm not having. So not necessarily that I'm jealous of her being with someone else, but I'm jealous that she is with someone and I'm not. So it's not,
Okay.
yeah.
So
So
it's
it's
like
not
if you
like,
had someone at the same time, it would work out
yeah.
okay.
So it's
Okay.
not like I would be upset that it's not like fix the jealousy wouldn't be for her to be here instead of with her, the other partner, because I don't want to mess with that. I don't want that to be stopped. I'm fine with her going off and being with other people, and if it's someone that makes her happy, that's fine, sexual or whatever. But so it's just in the moment of being like, oh, I wish I had someone right now, because you know relationships have ebbs and flows. Just like when you're single. It's sometimes you'll catch a lot of fish, sometimes you're, left with an empty line. So in those moments, yeah, like if she's in someone's bed and I'm in the bed alone, looking at, the empty space, and it's like, oh, I wish there was someone here
Uh,
with me. So yeah, that's the only real jealousy that I feel, and I don't have any problem with it. I work through it. We've talked about it because, like I said, it's very important to talk about these things with your partner. So she always makes sure that whatever she does, I'm okay with it. I'm fine. I'm not jealous. I'm not upset. Or if I'm jealous, that we talk about it, and it's fine. So, yeah, that's my general experience with jealousy.
yeah.
And
I
other
mean,
than that, yeah, it's not a big deal for me personally.
yeah, well, see, Sham does not subscribe to violence. He doesn't
Exactly.
feel the need to hurt anybody.
Peace and love in
Can't
schools.
can't say
Peace
I've
shared
ever
among
felt the
us.
same. Peace and loving schools. I remember that whole
There we
PALS
go. Yes.
program, the PALS program. Oh my
Think back to your roots. Think of the little bird
That
in the
weird
school
blue
uniform.
bird and the ribbon
Yeah.
thing that they had us wear all the time. Sweet Jesus.
Yes. There you
This is
go.
only relevant to you if you grew up in the Caribbean. I'm pretty
Yeah.
sure. I don't think they did this in the US. I don't know if they did it outside of the country that we live in. Did they do this in other countries in the Caribbean also? The
They
PALS
probably did.
program? I mean, I hope so.
Maybe not
But
exactly, but yeah.
but if anyone from another island has a reference for the PALS program, Peace and Love in Schools, please feel free to drop us an email at monogamouspod@gmail.com because I definitely want to talk about that. Just, just like part of a culture thing.
As
Anyway,
irrelevant as it is to the main
as
topic.
relevant as it is to the main topic, I just need to talk about it. But yes, I mean, we've talked about general gist of this, and I mean, what is your advice? I mean, you don't really experience, this big negative overall
Yeah.
jealousy emotion that people seem to talk about. But what advice do you have for dealing with feelings of jealousy? Like, so you just talk to your partner. Is there like anything else that you do, like in particular in the moment, that will help you, or?
I mean, all right, let me see if I can get deep right now. Hmm. Other than talking to your partner, you must also talk to yourself. Which basically just means like introspection, think about it, like why are you jealous? Why are you feeling these feelings? You know, like look inward. See what the problem is, see what's at the core of this jealousy. Is it just because they're with someone else or whatever reason you're feeling the jealousy, or is it something deeper? Is it, like, and what can you do to not feel this way? Or, if there's no way to not feel this way, how badly does it make you feel?
Yeah.
Can you live with this feeling? Is it
Can you
something that
live
you
with
just get
it?
over? Yeah. So,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's definitely a good one. I mean, yeah, I definitely agree. Communication, introspection is the most important part, I think, in the beginning for me because I don't want to talk to anyone until I kind of know what I'm feeling myself or what exactly I'm feeling. So I try to get as close to the heart of it as possible,
Hmm.
and before I like dive in. And then yeah, you have to decide in the beginning, is this something that you can live with happening all the time? Is it something that needs to be altered in some way? So is it like, hey, I'm okay if my live-in partner has sleepovers with someone, but not if it's more than one night a week. You know what I mean? So it's kind of like trying to navigate those things. And, they're like, well, I want to spend 2 nights a week sleeping at this person's house. Is that something that you can live with?
Oh, and I think another angle that we didn't
Uh-huh.
really take this from is from the person who may be causing the jealousy, not the outside person,
Oh,
of course.
yeah.
But if you're out with a person who's not other than your main partner or whichever, with another partner, think about the other partner, think about what they might be feeling, check in with them, because sometimes we're afraid to say things, to say how we feel, because
That's true. We're human.
yeah, I mean,
Sometimes we're
as much as
scared little
I'm telling,
bitches.
as much as I'm telling them to, express their feelings, they might not be comfortable doing that for whatever reason, or they may be
Hmm.
afraid to say something. So sometimes it can be good for you to try and start the conversation. Sometimes you'll be surprised at what you get. It might not be that bad. It might start
Uh-huh.
out bad, like, I'm jealous, I'm mad, but then through talking it out, you probably find a kind of middle ground where both of you can be happy or live with it or whatever. So, yeah, as the person who maybe causing jealousy, think about it, try and help out your partner, even if they're not jealous. Because, funny enough, as much as I'm not jealous, the wife would check in incessantly, almost to
True.
the point of annoyance. But, I'm happy that she made sure to annoy me to make sure I was okay because, I know she cares and she cared about my feelings. So I would never have to worry. So even if in a moment I got jealous or I got worried that there was more to this than, was on the surface, I would know just based on my partner's actions that I have nothing to worry about because we've spoken about it, she cares, and so on. So, yeah.
That's also super important. And if you have a partner who is not willing to check in with you and does not seem as if they care about your feelings, you should probably get a new partner. As shitty
Yeah.
as it sounds, if you guys cannot reach the minimum understanding of, someone accepting that you feel this way, then there's really nothing there, in my
Yeah.
opinion. If you can't work through it, then you're just going to have to cut your losses. And it'll be hard to do because, of course, but no one's staying in a toxic relationship. And sometimes it means reevaluating your boundaries and deciding whether or not you really want to keep the relationship open or closed, as the case may be
Yeah.
in
Hmm.
certain situations. So if it's like an open loop sort of thing, where it's like you're allowed to do whatever with all these different kinds of people, maybe you want to close it up a little bit. Maybe you want to, just take a break from. We know people who've done that before, who've decided to close a relationship for a period of time to work on their personal stuff, and then go back out there again, right?
Oh, that could be a whole nother episode now that I think about it. Like
That could be a whole nother
transitioning
episode.
between like relationship forms and how do you go from maybe poly to like, but better. This is far off.
Yeah.
This is far off mic, but yeah, what you're
That's for the
saying, yeah.
future. That's for the
Hmm.
future. But yeah, so I mean, like sometimes you just have to kind of reevaluate where you're at in the moment. And I feel like there's no harm or shame in doing that. And especially, like I said, once you get into, the jealousy and okay, but like I said, I don't agree with infidelity, but I also don't think that it should be the end of a relationship,
Yes.
right? I don't think it should be the end of a relationship with the person that you cheated on. Let's
Yeah.
be specific
Yeah, I
here.
definitely end it with the person you're cheating with.
Yeah,
Please.
let's put it there because I don't know very many people who have been cheated on in any situation, poly or not, who have had a successful reconnection with their primary partner, while still maintaining a relationship with the outside person.
Yeah, no, especially not
And
if no.
this is coming from someone who was in a very similar situation, right?
Of course.
I one of the people that I was cheated on with, because I mean, like it happens, person that I was cheated on, people cheated on me. Sorry, I keep on saying the words wrong. The person that
Hmm.
cheated on me still insisted on maintaining a close, quote unquote, friendship with the person that cheated on me with.
Yeah,
And
that would be a
so
bad idea.
it created a lot of issues. And I mean, at the time we were monogamous when that happened. The relationship opened up later on in the situation. But it was also just kind of like this person is between us. And they were like,
Yeah.
"Oh no, you need to get over it." I'm like, "No, but this person is between us. This is not something I can just get over." And I was kind of made to feel a lot of feelings about it, which of course, looking back, I was stupid for staying. But
Well, yeah.
in the
But I would
moment,
say, I would say those
it's
feelings are definitely
yeah, I
justified because
I felt like I was having justified feelings. I mean, you and I agreed to be monogamous, and then you were dating this person, you were talking to this person, this person was making dinner for you. Like there's
oh
like these little intimate things that were happening, like even when it was no longer romantic between them, and I use that as a very vague, stretchy term because, as far as I'm concerned, cooking dinner for someone is intimate and romantic.
yeah, kind of.
If you're not a chef, it is not like a friend flex. Sorry, I'm not
Mm,
into it. I don't think that you should be calling anyone and being like, "Hey, I made that special dinner that you like. Come over and get it."
definitely not. That's
That's
definitely
just that's just.
that's
I
definitely
don't
a
think
more than friend situation.
making them Valentine's Day treats, just like little things like that I knew in my gut I was not okay with and didn't feel right about, and I was not offered that same place of respect that I would have offered them, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So they had an issue with me being close friends with an ex-boyfriend, and I was like, listen, there's nothing going on between me and this person. You can be present for every single interaction if you feel the need to control me in this way. I didn't actually use those words, but you know what I mean.
That was
I
your
mean,
feeling.
there is nothing going on, and I would have done within reason what was necessary to reassure my partner that there was nothing going on,
Mm.
and I was just not given that same respect back, which led to even bigger issues, which ultimately led to the downfall of our relationship. Even
Yeah.
though things were considered perfect at the time because we were happy, we were non-monogamous, we were doing whatever we needed to do with a certain curated group of people, and it was totally fine. But
Yeah.
like I said,
So,
poly can't fix everything.
definitely not. No, it's not a
Monogamy
fix
doesn't
all.
fix everything. It doesn't fix anything.
Definitely. Not even that. You're probably thinking, oh, see, that's an example of what I was saying before. That because someone cheated means they can manage being polyamorous, and
No, it does
that's
that.
not the fix for a cheater. No.
It is not the fix for a cheater. So it just really, really gets to a point where I think everyone kind of has to really talk about, like I said, communication. You just have to talk about it. If you're getting into a relationship like this, transitioning from monogamy, you have to talk a lot about what your expectations are, what you need, what the other person needs, and try to come up with as many scenarios as possible. I think that's what works for me personally.
Yeah.
Trying to look at different perspectives that I have been in friendships and in relationships that could come up that could be problematic. And even though I'm not monogamous and have been for some time, it's definitely also a conversation to be had with a new partner when you're diving into that. It's like, oh shit, you're trying to date someone new, and they may or may not be into the life, and you got to talk to them about the life. Like, okay, this is what I'm into.
Oh yeah, that's all. a whole another topic that can be discussed because that's its own kettle of
Yeah,
fish. Trying to
that's
figure out
its
like
own thing to figure out. Like,
how do you explain to them your lifestyle and make them okay with it, and
yeah,
it's a whole
because I mean, it doesn't mean that I'm going to be screwing other people all the time. It just means that there's an option.
yeah.
So, I don't know. I mean, there's all this stuff to look at because none of these things are isolated incidents. Like we said, it's like a million little steps that makes the one big step that gets us to where we are.
Different because every person is different, so everyone's experience will be different, but we're just trying our best to give some guidelines of how to do it, some example, I guess some example of
Yeah,
what it is.
yeah, we give them some life experience here. I talked a lot.
I talked a little bit.
I think this is probably the topic I have like one of the most experiences with overall.
Yeah, I have
as horrible as that sounds.
Unfortunately.
Horrible as that sounds. But
Yeah,
yeah,
we're in better days.
Yeah, we're in better days. We're going to drop the links to some of the articles that you can read to talk about these sorts of things, Psychology Today has some good stuff. Bustle has some interesting stuff. There's just a lot of interesting information out there that I think people could read as it relates to the topic of jealousy, compersion, cheating, infidelity in non-monogamous relationships. And it's going to be in the show notes. Of course, the detailed show notes, as always, are on our website, monogamishpod.wordpress.com. Of course, we're going to put some simplified versions, in the actual show notes. It's going to be posted out on the thing. As usual.
And there'll be a link to the full show notes if you want it.
There'll be a link, of course. There's always a link because I'm nothing if not thorough. Yeah. And I'm going to name the episode something weird probably because that's my thing, apparently.
Okay. I mean, if you're listening to this right now, you already know what it is, but
But really, no, what is it? Is it I decided I was going to add something to cheating and jealousy.
Yeah, I'm leaving it in your hands.
Leaving it in my hands.
That you do all the work, so I'm just going to be like, well, whatever she says, whatever thought comes to me, I was like, oh, is this what it is?
Yeah. That's pretty much what I do. Like I type the show notes and then that's when I also like create the episode name. I'm like, oh yeah, episode 3, cheating, jealousy, and well, we'll leave you to find out when it pops up on your screen. Yeah. Once again, I'm Jen.
Oh, I'm Sham. And we're
monogamish. Oh, I think that was better.
Maybe. I'm not sure.
Anyway. Okay. XOXO. Bye guys.